we were trying for probably a couple of years. You know,
I remember
as you know,
that.
like people our age are struggling having kids,
Yep.
right? It's
I don't know if it's the food or what happened,
yeah,
but yeah.
I wanted to talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you know, my wife did some tests, and they're like, yeah, you're fine. And I, obviously, being a guy, and be like,
Yeah.
oh, nothing's wrong with me, you know, nothing,
Yeah, yeah.
everything's working,
Yeah.
you know. And then I'm like, all right, well, we'll go in and test everything out, and then you know, you send your sample in, and, and they send the results back, and it was like, yeah, you're kind of low on, you know, this and this and this, like. It's like morphology, so it's like the shape of the
shape,
what's-
volume.
yeah, volume, all that stuff, right? And so I'm like, and they were like, yeah, it's not like super low, but it's like on the right there teetering.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when you go in and put in the samples, it could change like day by day, dude.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
one day
yeah.
it could be like,
Right,
and then one day
right.
it could be like super low.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, man, maybe I need some steroids. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
I got you, man.
yeah. No, and so I'm like, oh man, I guess I am the problem. I went in and spoke with my doctor, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's like this. I've noticed, doc, you know, this is really common in like people our age now. Like, I don't remember this being a problem before. And they were just like, yeah, it could be to industrialization, you know, with all the chemicals. I'm like, okay, so he was just like saying like that could be it, right? Could be stress. Like nowadays, is like it's. I feel like now is like more stressful than like. I mean, I think every era of time has got their own stressors, you know. But I'm like, yeah, dude, I think stress is a big factor. It's just work.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, you know, industrialization, the things we eat, right? All the processed foods that we eat. So he's like, yeah, it could be that. And so,
but he doesn't sound like he was a doctor who really questioned himself about that too much. Huh?
Yeah, but he was a really good doctor. But he's like, it could be this, could be that. Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Like
that's what doctors say. Could be that.
But it's like he'll just like, yeah, there are some studies that said this, right? But they can't.
I think they have to be careful to not actually make any
like
unless
they
claims.
Unless they're lead researchers into the project.
Right. They can't be like, this is 100% this, right? So he's like, yeah, it could be that. And so I got put on. He's like, yeah, take these.
You were telling me
these pills. Yeah. It was like a some, I forgot what it was. It was a CoQ10.
Well, and what was the purpose of that med? Is it to like?
It's just,
how does it work to give you
I'm
like
not sure,
a
but
better sperm?
Yeah, it's supposed to like help with that or something, you know. And man, you know, I wanted to talk about this. I knew we were going to talk about this today too, and I know it's tough to talk about this, especially when it's like a guy problem. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, James is not a real man, right? He's not. He shouldn't blanks over.
But it's important, and it is so many people.
It's
like, in our age, because like
I said,
I know so many people. Like I have so many friends. I have friends like that are currently going through IVF, older and younger than all of us. And so like, but it's. You don't hear about it enough or speaking publicly. And I think it's for that reason because, like you said,
there's a stigma behind this. There's especially being in the home community. You know what I mean? There's like, oh, you know, like $1 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, do all this stuff. You know, I'm like, and I've heard a lot of things that people do. I'm like, man, that is weird. And so, you know, I'm speaking about it, but it's because. Maybe it's because I'm on the other end of the tunnel now. Where it's like, well, I had a kid, now I can talk about it.
No, but you did.
But during that time, I didn't want to speak about it.
So I made a post on Facebook that was asking about
IVF or something.
The topic was IVF. I don't remember what I was asking, but it was about IVF, just because we're going through our own trying to have a kid. And then you expressed that you replied, and you expressed that you were talking about it, just like you said now, being on the other side of it. But you said that you had a hard time speaking out about it prior.
While you're in the midst of it.
While you're in the midst of it. And I don't know. For me, I've never had a problem with it because I think if you judge me on that, first of all, screw yourself. Go screw yourself. If you judge me on that, like, come on, man. Like, you ain't perfect, you know?
I commend you on that for coming out and speak about something so sensitive, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it is important.
But it's real. It is what it is.
Like I said, it's so common now. And the doc was like, it's just not like a United States thing. It's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so, no, I commend you on that. But I know it's like, it's just not you, right? It's like you and your partner's situation. So it's like you also want to respect your partner's wishes on it. So it's just kind of hard to
think enough about
it.
About that post.
So
I just made it because I was like, I need some resources right now.
No, you're going through a lot of things.
Yeah, I need some resources right now. Which I will say came plentiful. Like hella people messaged me with like, hey, you should do this, look into this. This is what we did. And so like I knew that from making that post is like by you being open, like my mom gave me shit one time for saying, "Why do you share so much stuff online?" And I would always say, "Well, if I'm not afraid of the judgment that's going to come back, I know that some people will judge, and that's going to happen regardless. But the people that will reach back are the people that either have struggled with it already, or they're on the other side of it, and so they're going to give me like real resources.
Right. Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. You know,
I couldn't message you privately, but I'm like, you know what, Tulo's brave enough to come out and say this, and I wanted to put it out there too, like a public comment.
Yeah,
and be
like, people hey, are going through it too.
I went through this, and like I said, maybe it's because I went through the storm, and now I do have a kid, right? Yeah. So, but just put that out there. It's really common now, and definitely get yourself checked out. It's just not like a woman thing. It's like, dude, us dudes need to get ourselves checked out too, because we were living through like some crazy times, man. Yeah. And so definitely get that.
Yeah, there's a lot more science to it. Like, I think we forget to think about just how intricate the whole thing is, right? Like, oh, it's easy. A sperm fertilizes an egg, and it goes into the uterus, and then it implants and grows. Like
so much is happening in that process.
Yeah, the concept is easy, but all the odds for it to actually happen are...
Yeah, you're like, wait, teenage pregnancies are at a high. It should be easy for me, right?
That's the thing that bothers... Yeah, that's one thing that bothered me a lot, because when I was firefighting, I'd go to so many houses where, inner city, so I'd go to so many houses where you got 21-year-old mom on the fourth kid, and you're like, yo, what the... Yeah, man, y'all you over here popping babies like left and right, not even take care of anybody, and then you feel like you're doing what you can for society, right? You're becoming a fireman, you're in the military. I mean, these are things that are you just playing they're in your own head. But you say, well, how can I do all these things, and then like, what is it about that I need to change that will make me have the ability to have a child when these people are just freaking popping kids left and right?
Yeah.
So that does piss you off. Like I'm kind of. At the beginning, I was just like, we got time. Yeah. Now I'm turning 36 this year. Yeah. My wife is older than I. Now the stress is finally settling in. But at the same time, I'm still accepting of what it is. Like, I can't do anything further other than keep seeing the doctors, keep talking to people that have been through it. Yeah. So it's just going through the process. But it's definitely a thing that, and when I brought it up, that's when I realized that, like, in the Hmong community, and everybody, right? But in the Hmong community of our generation, it's way more common than like people talk about.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
Everybody's that like you will find somebody who's gone through IVF.
Yeah, and
more than likely, there's somebody in your life, that or somebody in your circle that is probably dealing with that right now.
I'll say they have more people than not. Yeah. Like you mentioned, like our folks didn't have a problem with this at all, man. No. Like I said, my mom and dad, there's like 12, 13 of us.
But I don't know. I think I challenged that idea too, just because like there are like Hmong medicines for that, right? Yeah. Like there's like people. I think people do spiritual callings to help them have babies.
Bro, I'm at the point where like if
medicinal,
y'all got that shaman plug, hit them up. Hit her up.
So then like
I need anything right now.
If they had that, or if they had treatments for it, it also was an issue, right? Or maybe it wasn't as large of an issue, or maybe it didn't happen as frequent. Yeah. But I think it definitely was an issue, and that's one of those things where it wasn't talked about.
Not to say it'd be like, that spiritual stuff. Not to say that. I mean, maybe that stuff did work, right? But think about it. We're one generation removed from like our parents being farmers, right? Yeah. Never seen like any kind of electronic device, right? So I think about the whole industrialization thing, where now all of a sudden we just flip the switch, where it's like,
100%.
Boom, we're in the United States, and now we're exposed to all these like toxins or whatever. It's like maybe that.
Well, and then you get older and you realize like the power of capitalism behind everything that you consume, right? So ain't nobody coming out with these apples for the sake of making a healthy apple. You're coming out with the nicest, crispest, reddest apple so that people will buy, and it'll make somebody rich, regardless of the consequences. And
all the honey at the store
is all conspiracy
in China.
Now we're and so the IVF topic or the inability to have children is a very serious topic that I'm going through it now. It's and you went through it. Now you're on the other side.
It was like a short phase, honestly. It was just like I'm glad. It was like, whoa, like, and we weren't even trying necessarily, but all of a sudden it was like, dude, we're pregnant. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So
I've heard so many different things. Some people are like, oh yeah, I know some families that they didn't have kids, but then they adopted one, and then right after they adopted, it changed it changed their chemistry, and then they had one. Or somebody just stopped trying, and then it happened. They're like,
well, ours,
or you got to go on more dates, or like all kinds of.
weird in a good way because, like I said, my mom passed away just last February, and like, dude, literally like 3 days after.
Oh, that's funeral, right. That's when you found out that you guys were pregnant right after your mom passed.
My wife was like, "Yo, I'm pregnant." I'm like, holy crap!
Like a reincarnation type thing, almost.
Possibly, dude. Because my family, like last year, like my sister, like knew. My sister had her kid. My brother had her kid. My 2 nieces had her kid. My younger brother had.
Oh, that's right. Kid. Your niece and Koo's kid.
Yeah, Koo's kid. That was like 2 years before.
Oh, that was 2 years before already.
It was like a year or so. No, a year before, I think.
Okay.
But like
everything, all kinds of things flourished.
Yeah, last year.
Last
year it was like 5 boys in her family were born, and then my girl was the last one born, and it was a girl, and it was like. It's kind of weird how that worked, right? We talk about all the spiritual stuff. I'm like, maybe it's because,
something
like,
really sad caused a lot of...
maybe it was a blessing, right, from my mom or something.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that too, you know what I mean? And it's crazy to be like, all right, how do we have all 5 boys? And all of a sudden, we were the last one we had a girl. You know what I mean?
Are you guys, is your family Christian or shamans?
We grew up a shaman. My dad was a shaman.
Okay. Oh, your dad was like an actual shaman?
He was actual shaman, yeah. And so, like, my family is shaman, but my wife...